Welcome to the first video of learning the HTML course. At this lesson, we're going to learn what is HTML and how does HTML work. HTML or Hypertext Markup Language is a markup language for the web that defines the structure of web pages. It is one of the most basic building blocks of every website, so it is crucial to learn if you want to have a career in web development. In this article, I will walk you through what HTML is about in detail, how it does things on web pages, and we will also touch on a really cool part of HTML, which is called semantic HTML. So let's begin to talk what is HTML. To understand HTML from front to back, let's look at each word that makes the abbreviation. Hypertext. Text that is organized in order to connect related items such as images, embeds, and videos. Markup. A style guide for typesetting anything to be printed in hard copy or soft copy format. Language. A language that a computer system understands and uses to interpret commands. HTML determines the structure of web pages. This structure alone is not enough to make a web page look good and interactive. So you will use assisted technologies such as CSS and JavaScript to make your HTML beautiful and interactivity. In this case, I like to break down the three technologies: HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. They are like a human body. HTML is called the skeleton, CSS is the skin, and JavaScript is the circulatory, digestive, and respiratory systems that brings the structure in the skin to life. You can also look at HTML, CSS, and JavaScript in this way. HTML is the structure of a house, CSS is the interior and exterior decor, and JavaScript is the electricity, water system, and many other functional features that make the house livable. What is HTML text? Since HTML defines the markup for a particular web page, you will want the text, images, or other embeds to appear in certain ways. For example, you might want some text to be big, or the text to be small, and some to be bolded, italic, or in bullet point form. HTML has text that let you get this done. So there are texts to create headings, paragraphs, bolded words, italicized words, and more. The image below describes the anatomy of an HTML tag. An HTML tag contains of opening tag and closing tag. In closing tag, you will just add a slash. So let's come to talk about what is HTML elements. An element consists of the opening tag, a character, the content, and a closing tag is called the HTML elements. Some elements are empty, that is, they do not have a closing tag but instead have a source or linked content that you want to embed on the web page. An example of an empty element is image, which you use to embed images on a web page. HTML elements are often used interchangeably with text, but there is a small difference between the two. An element is a combination of the opening and closing tag and then the content between them. I made another image to help you visualize the anatomy of an HTML element. Let's suppose you have the opening tag and a closing tag. You need to insert the content between the opening and closing tag, and this is called the HTML elements. As we understood about what is HTML and about HTML elements, so now we're going to study what is HTML attributes. HTML tags also take what are called attributes. These attributes are placed in the opening tag and range from style and IDs to classes. They take values which convey more information about the element and help you do things such as styling and manipulation with JavaScript. In the infographic below, the opening tag contains a class attribute with a value of text. This can be used to style the element or select it with JavaScript for interactivity. For understanding more, we are going to cover these in next lesson. So, here is the anatomy of a basic HTML. Let's look at the important bits of code here. Doc type HTML. Doctype HTML specifies that we are using HTML5 in this code. Before the introduction of HTML5, you had to explicitly state which version of HTML you were coding in with the doctype tag. For example, HTML 4.0, 3.2, and so on. But now we no longer need it. When HTML is written in the code, the browser automatically assumes that you are using the HTML5 code. HTML opening tag and closing tag. The root or top level element of every HTML document is called the opening HTML and closing HTML tag. Every other element must be wrapped in it. Head tag. Head tag is one of the most crucial parts of the HTML document. Web crawlers look inside the head text to get important information about the page. It contains info such as the page title, style sheets, meta information for SEO, and lots more. Meta. This is an empty element that conveys meta information about the page. Such information may include the author, what type of encoding it is using, almost always UTF-8, responsiveness, compatibility, and a lot more. Web crawlers always look at the meta tag to get information about the web page, which will play a crucial role in SEO. Title. Title defines the title of the web page. It always shown in the browser tab. Body. All the content of the HTML documents is located in the inside of body tag. There can be only one body tag on the whole page. So we have reached a cool part of this lesson. What is semantic HTML? Semantic HTML means that your HTML tags convey the actual meaning of what they are used for. Semantics has been an integral part of HTML since its inception in the early 90s, but it never gained particular relevance until the late 90s when CSS started working in most browsers. With semantic HTML, semantically neutral tags such as div and span are frowned upon, since semantically more descriptive tags such as header, nav, main, section, footer, and article can do the same thing they do. A noticeable advantage of using semantic tags is the web crawlers are able to index the web page or website easily, improving SEO in return. In addition, a website that uses semantics becomes more informative, adaptable, and accessible to those who use screen readers to access websites. So let's talk what is the important semantic tags and what they do. Let's look at some of the most commonly used semantic HTML tags. Header. The header element defines the introductory section of a web page. It contains items such as the logo, navigation, theme feature, and search bar. Nav. The nav element specifies the navigation items of a page such as home, contact, about, FAQs, and so on. Main. The main element is conventionally treated as the immediate descendant of the tag. It contains the main sections of the HTML documents apart from header and footer. Ideally, there should be just one of these in the whole HTML document. Section. The section element defines a particular section of the web page. This may be the showcase section, about section, content section, or others. You can use numerous sections in a single HTML document. Article. The article element represents a certain part of a web page that conveys some particular information. Such information could be a combination of text, images, videos, and embeds. Look at this element as a standalone blog post on a page containing experts about all the blog posts. Aside. As the name implies, this represents a sidebar on a web page. It's usually a part of the web page that is not directly related to the main content. Footer. The footer element accommodates items such as quick links, copyright information, or any other data related to the entire web page. Note: since semantic elements convey actual meaning and what some particular content actually does, such as nav for navigation, aside for a sidebar, and so on, these elements are not automatically positioned where they are supposed to be. You still have to do that with CSS. A super simple semantic HTML document looks like this. Here is what it looks like in the browser. You can see that the content inside the aside tag isn't in the sidebar, and the content inside the nav tag is not automatically available as the navigation bar. This is why you still have to make them look the way they are supposed to look with the CSS.